Welcome, beautiful, to another episode of the Sacred Roots podcast. Today's episode is going to be quite personal. I want to lift the veil, move the curtain, open the door to my personal life and what I have gone through the past 2 years, because I know that what I have gone through, you might be going through it right now or beginning to go through it. And it has truly become one of my greatest calling to help women who are on that particular journey of stepping into their highest potential, their highest truth. And when you have that devotion to truly being of the highest service, answering the call of your soul to serve others with your gifts, to uplift humanity, to make this world a better place. I know it sounds all terribly cheesy, but if you're here, you're probably used to it now. And maybe it's resonating with you. You're like, yeah, I know it sounds cheesy, but I feel like that too. It's because truly you signed up for this. You volunteered. You chose to assist this very chaotic and pivotal time that we are in. And so if you have this goal and you are answering this goal by serving with your gifts and allowing yourself to really for yourself step into your highest truth, but also for the impact that you came here to make better yourself so that you can be a better leader, a better healer, a better entrepreneur. It is inevitable that you are going to go through what I call the death-rebirth journey. And the truth is that you're not going to go through that journey only once in your life. You'll go through it several times. Because each time has a gift. Many gifts, many gifts. But damn, it's so uncomfortable and hard. It was really, really hard. So let me share my story with you, what I have gone through for the past 2 years. And then we'll dive into, okay, why does it happen like that? How can we go through it with more ease? Where are you at on that journey? And what is each stage of that journey requiring of you? What can you do to move through each stage with more ease? Because this story that I'm about to share with you is the story of every feminine leader. And I know many of you are following me. And so this is why I'm willing to be vulnerable, though this is really hard for me because I have these two beliefs that if I'm vulnerable, if I show weakness, then I'm not going to be loved. And that if I show weakness, if I'm vulnerable, then I'm not a good leader. I know it's total bullshit. And so I'm willing to deconstruct these by just opening my heart to you today. But so know that this is very vulnerable for me to speak about. Because for all my life, I just had this armor of the smiling girl whose everything is perfect and I'm just figuring everything out, and behind the scenes just dealing with my own stuff. But now I'm just going to open the door to my own stuff. Let's dive in. So 2 years ago, we were in Bali. Yeah, I'm recording this. It's July 27. We were like leaving Bali on July 27, 2 years ago. Crazy. And in June, I had participated in a retreat with 2 high priests, and that retreat was incredibly powerful. I left that year in Bali and working with these 2 high priests for several weeks before and after that retreat, feeling so connected to my power, my purpose, who I am, how I can be of the highest service, and ready to take on the world. I was like, I'm ready for my next level. this is it. I've just had my first iteration of the mystery school. It was so potent. Let's do another one. Like I was so clear and excited. And so I remember hiring a whole team of 3 women because I was like, let's go. I know who I came here to be. So I was really going after this vision that I had for my future and kind of making it happen. Which that's not really how it works. We're going to see that in a second. That's the problem for the intuitive. Sometimes when you have a vision, you know who you came here to be, you know the life that you're meant to live. Sometimes you're going to run after it. You're going to be like, it's in my hands to make it happen. It's actually not in your hands. And you don't have the timeline in your hands too. Your role is to become her by doing the inner work, by getting rid of what's in the way of becoming her. And so that's exactly what I stepped into. Once I claimed, I'm ready for the next level, let's make it happen, the universe was like, oh, you're cute. You've hired this whole team. You're ready to do this and this and this in your business. Moving back to Canada and all of that. Like I was ready to get a space to have a physical mystery school. I mean, I had big visions, but the universe was like, wait a second, my love. You first need to let go of this that you haven't seen yet, because what got you here won't get you there. So yes, you'll get there, and I'm going to prepare you for it, but it's not going to happen next month as you're hoping. Well, it took me 2 years and more. I think I'm not at that vision yet, but I've let go so much since then. And so what happened is that as soon as I claimed that, hired that team, started looking for spaces that I could rent to have a physical mystery school and all of that, things started collapsing. Things in my business started collapsing. Launches that did not perform. I got pregnant, which was beautiful, but that put me in a difficult physical state because I was incredibly tired. I had zero creativity. If for any of you that know me, I have an overflow of creativity and energy in a normal day. So that was incredibly hard for me to not be able to get out of bed or the couch for the first 3 months. And I felt like the shadow of myself. And I was like, where's my power? Where's this vision? Where's this knowing that I am meant for more, that I'm ready for that next level? Right now, I just feel in a dark hole where everything's collapsing. And I just feel like hermiting and hiding and doing nothing. And that went on for the whole pregnancy with Sophia. I just had very little energy. I did have 3 women sign up before all of that collapsing to a next cohort of the mystery school. So I served these women. And I had my Divine Feminine membership, but I decided to close that one after a few months because just the way I was running and just didn't feel fully aligned anymore. And so I just served my clients during that year. And then I decided that I wanted to focus on Sophia for the first 6 months and really take my time to connect with her, be with her, take my health back into my hands. Because the truth is that during that pregnancy, I was still resisting. And during that whole pregnancy, where I was the shadow of myself, I resisted being the shadow of myself. I was like, no, I have this vision. I know I'm ready for more. I'm still going to make it happen. So I was pushing. And I ended up burning out. At the end of the pregnancy, I crashed. I would just cry for no reason. I mean, I was pregnant, of course. The hormones didn't help. But I reached a point of exhaustion. That definitely, was also caused by the pregnancy and having a toddler, but the pressure that I was putting on my shoulder. And so during that whole year, And even the year after, the first year of Sophia, she's now 14 months when I'm recording this, I was shown all the places where I was limiting myself, all the beliefs that weren't serving me, all the things that I was attaching my worth to instead of being connected to just, well, I'm worthy just because I am. Like, I don't need anything else to prove myself or feel worthy or feel safe. And so one of the first thing that I had to let go of, and maybe you felt it through my story, is this identity of the overachiever. And it's really funny the way I was shown that, because it was like a slap in my face. I'm laughing now because I just have so much compassion for this journey I've gone through, and sometimes my own stubbornness. But I remember having this conversation with my husband, and we were working with a coach at the time, together, like a relationship coach. And Rich said to her about me in front of me, because Ele is an overachiever, da 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 da. And I remember looking at him and being like, oh wow, you think I'm an overachiever? Huh. Like, it never crossed my mind. And because I'm open to receiving feedback, I didn't push it away straight, but I was like curious, let me sit with that. How does that feel? I was like, oh yeah, maybe I am. But I couldn't really see it. So I was like, it's funny because my consciousness, my conscious mind, my ego doesn't want me to see it. It's finding reasons why I'm not. I'm resisting this. So there might be something, there might be some truth in it because I'm resisting it really bad. And so I remember going on Google. Oh my God, thank God Google exists sometimes. And I wrote, what are like key signs that you're an overachiever? And I read them and I was like, oh, yes, that's me. Oh, yes, that's me too. Oh, well, I guess I'm an overachiever then. And I really took time to really sit with, okay, where is this coming from? What's the fear underneath it? When did I become like that? Because I remember really well that it's something that I took on around my 20s. I was not an overachiever before, quite the opposite. It was driving my teachers crazy. They kept telling me, you could be first of class if you just studied, but you can't be bothered to study, to read the books, to do the work. So you're just like average. You're smart enough that you're passing because you have a good memory, but can you please study? You would be so much better. And I was like, no, I don't want to. It's not interesting to me. So it's only when I found the topics that I am obsessed with today, which is spirituality and ancient wisdom and personal growth. Now I am a nerd and I read like a book a week, almost. And I'm studying a lot right now, much more than I used to, because I found what I'm interested in. I remember really well when that belief and that identity was created for me. So I had to like go to the root of that, deconstruct that, and really connect with, who am I if I don't achieve? This knowing that I had as a child and a teenager, that I didn't care about being first of class. I didn't care about being the best. I didn't care about achieving, because I had wholeness within me that got deconstructed, wounded, pushed down, and for XYZ reasons. And so I had to look at that and heal that. Something else that I was shown during that time was how I was overgiving to compensate a belief that I was not enough, that I didn't know enough. And that really backfired on me a lot during my pregnancy and within a relationship with a woman that I had in my life. It was really, really painful and difficult, but such a blessing to be able to see how I was overgiving. And then that created expectation within that relationship. And when I was like, oh, wait, this doesn't feel good anymore, I'm going to set a boundary. Whew, fireworks, chaos, collapse. but it was good, just painful in that moment. And so, because I was also exhausted and then I burnt out, I really had to sit with this belief of who am I when I have nothing to give? So, if you've been following my podcast a little bit and you've read my books, you probably know that I was bullied as a child and I didn't have many friends. And of course, I always felt very different than most people around me. And I remember really well, I was about 8 years old and I was tired of being alone at the playground with the kids not wanting to play with me and just sitting on the concrete little step by the fence and just waiting for the pause at the middle of the day to be over so that we could just go back in school and just sit there and wait and not have any friends. That happened. I have so many memories of that most days. And I remember really well just feeling extremely lonely and being like, okay, I'm just going to be nice and to give people what they want, sorry, and love them so that they can love me back. And because I am an empath and highly sensitive person, it was very easy for me to see what people wanted and needed. And so I started doing that. So I really became this good girl, this generous girl, this giving girl that would help people, that would take care of people, that would look after people, that would give them what they need. This is often a pattern for us healers and intuitives. We are so good at giving because we see and we feel what people need and desire. And it's also why we walk this path, but it becomes a curse when you attach your worth to it, when it's a survival mechanism. And it is in my nature to be very generous. But if I do it from a place of love and not expectations, it's perfect. If I do it from a place of, do I want to receive something in exchange? Does it come from a place of fear, from a place of not enoughness, of trying to compensate something? Ooh, it's not serving me and it's not serving the other person. And so I was really shown that during this death-rebirth journey. There's so much more that I was shown. I wrote a few down, like my scarcity mindset, my lack of trust in myself and in life. There was still a part of me that just didn't trust the process. How I was dimming myself. I realized I had this belief of, I have nothing to say. Gosh, after writing 2 books and having a podcast with 100 plus episodes, I still had this belief of, I have nothing to say. Come on, girl. It's time to let go, right? My spirit guides and Mother Divine was like, okay, let's get rid of that one. And so this is really the first step. And this is why I'm spending time explaining all of that, because I know some of you might recognize yourself in these stories that we tell ourselves, these limitations that we have. And I was shown all of that through relationships, conflicts, chaos, fears that came up. If you have a little bit of self-awareness and journal, you might be able to see for yourself what life is trying to teach you, because life is always trying to show you something. And whenever it's arising to the surface, it's because it's ready to be released. So get excited. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. You want to cry. You want to stomp. You want to hit pillows. Yes, I know. But see it as a blessing because it's ready to be released. And that's really the first step of the death-rebirth journey. So for the first year, because I was resisting so hard, because a lot of my identity was tied to, I need to bring money to the table because otherwise I'm not worthy. I need money to feel safe because otherwise I'm not worthy. And I kept trying to do all these launches. I kept trying to do all these things that just were not working because the goddess was like, no, as long as you attach your worth to your external results, to your achievements, to the money you make, to the amount of people you work with, it's not going to work anymore. Not anymore. And as soon as I realized that and I stopped fighting it, suddenly things became more easeful. So that first year, as I resisted and burnt out, all these things were shown to me. I did a lot of my inner work. And then I stepped into the second stage. So the first stage is all about letting go and using the experiences of life to see our shadow that we are invited to bring light into and let go. Just like the myth of Vijnana. I'll put the link in the show notes of this episode because the myth of Vijnana is really the perfect example of this death rebirth journey and the 4 stages. She goes through the 7 gates to reach the underworld, and at each gate she has to let go of something. Her rings, her jewels, her crown, her rod of power, her clothes, her shoes. She ends up completely naked. And so it's interesting because as I gave birth to my daughter naked, I gave birth to a new version of me. And I felt very naked too, very vulnerable. I had let go of so much. I was like, who am I now? And what was coming through? But with resistance again. Resistance is always the way. Was this desire to start walking the priestess path. And this desire had been there for the whole year, but I had pushed it down so far. I was just like, no, I'm not resonating with that title. I'm not resonating with these women with long hair and long dresses in the forest. Yeah, part of me is like that, but it's not all of who I am. And I just pushed it down so far. But when I gave birth to my daughter, it reignited a calling to serve the divine feminine. It reignited a desire to connect with Mother Divine. And I really asked myself, what am I afraid here? Why am I resisting this so much? Maybe I can just be a priestess in my own unique way. Why do I have to conform to what's being shown out there? Maybe there's many women out there that actually don't resonate with that. And when I asked myself, in the end, what is a priestess? What's her core essence? It's to be a bridge between the spiritual and the material. It's to be a vessel for the love of Mother Divine to anchor into the earth, for the work of Mother Divine to be expressed through you, for you and for others, and to help others be channels, vessels too, and connect with the divine within and without. For me, that's the core essence of a priestess. I was like, well, I already do that. If I let go of the fears, the labels, the limitations, I feel I am a priestess at my core. So let's go and try and find a training that resonates with me so that I can walk this path more deeply, more devotionally. And I started looking for several trainings. Many weren't resonating with me because I was really wanting to find one that had a special frequency and a special connection to the goddess. And so that took some time until it was brought to me, of course. When the student's ready, the teachers show up. And so I found the perfect Mary and Magdalene priestess training for me, which makes total sense because I have a very deep connection to Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, Mother Mary. As you might have known if you've listened to the previous episodes that I shared where I talk about Mary Magdalene. If not, I highly recommend you give it a listen because it's very potent. And deep wisdom came through in that podcast. So as I honored this part of me, the perfect training showed up. And that second year within my death rebirth journey was really this second stage of the death rebirth journey, which was surrendering. You've let go of all these things and you're in this winter season. The letting go is the fall season, and then you step into this winter season. And so I really sat for, yes, 6 to 9 months in this winter season of who am I now? And just learning to become a priestess, learning to strengthen my relationship to the unseen. It was already present, but really make it a priority. My life now is so much more imbued and led by prayer, by soul, by ceremony, by meditation. Before, it would be part of my life, but more on occasions. Now, it's like, that's my life, that's my priority. I wake up, I sit on top of my bed and I pray and I meditate. And then I take care of the kids. They go to school, they go to camp, they are with their dad. I go and sit by my altar. I make myself a cacao. I put incense on, candle, and I pray and I meditate. What's the message that wants to come through today? How can I best serve you, Goddess? What do I need to release? What is the message that wants to come through about this and this and this? It's just how I live my life now. Whereas before, it was something I was doing occasionally when I had the time, once a week. It wasn't a priority. It was so, I've really, in this darkness, when nothing seemed to happen on the outside, I rebirthed myself. And so this is often the case with the winter season. It looks like nothing is happening, but everything is happening underneath the surface within you. And if you go too fast in that process, if you don't surrender enough, if you don't allow, if you try to rush it, you're breaking the process. It's like you've planted that seed. If you are removing the soil because you want to see the flower of the rose bush, you're going to mess up the whole birthing process. So that is really a time of allowing, surrendering, and what I call gathering the pieces. Because when we are in that darkness, in that winter season where everything feels slow, we are really invited to gather the pieces. And while I was strengthening my relationship to the divine, I was strengthening my relationship to myself, to trust, to my role, to my new identity as a priestess, and embodying that before I could show it to the world. And around the month of March, April, really with the return of spring, I felt a new wind of energy. Dream clients started coming my way. Dream opportunities started coming my way. Opportunities that I never thought in my whole life would ever happen to me. I can't speak about it right now, but it's going to happen in the next month. You might be surprised too. And so mind-blowing things that keep happening and that are just falling on my lap right now with so much ease, so much effortlessness because of who I've become, because of the certainty I've stepped into, because I don't attach my worth to money anymore, to overgiving, to being something, someone. I just know who I am and I embody that because I own that I'm a priestess, even if it makes lots of people uncomfortable. They don't really understand what it is. And it's been so beautiful to watch the magnetism that has transpired and that's been happening since then. And it's been very interesting as well to observe that the kind of woman now that I am attracting are different as well than it was 2 years ago. Because for 2 years, it was not a year and a half. It was a bit of a desert. No matter what I was doing, it was like, no, you're going to stay in there. And so it's fascinating to see that the women that I'm attracting now are a little bit older. And if you're listening to this and you're not 45, 55, 65, it's not so much about age, it's about where you're at on your soul journey. The woman that I'm attracting now, they really are ready for that depth, for that true connection to power, for really purpose work. And my messaging has changed slightly, but it's not even about the words that I use. It's because of the frequency that I embody now, because I've gone on such a deep journey the past 2 years, and it was not my first journey. If you know about my divorce and moving to Canada and my first journey inside a mystery school, if you've read my first book, I speak more in depth about that. Even writing The Path of Femininity 4 years ago, all these were initiations and death-rebirth journeys. But this last one for the past 2 years was definitely incredibly deep. And now I'm seeing how, because of the new frequency that I am embodying, the new kinds of women that I'm attracting. And to be honest, I am impressed by some of these women. I'm like, wow. I am so grateful and honored and humbled that women with these talents, this kind of leadership want to work with me. And yes, more please. Let's go deeper. Let's go further. I'm so excited. And so it's a blessing. So if you've really tapped into the wisdom of this story, and like I've shared, you'll see that there are four stages, three main stages, actually. There's really this letting go. It begins with you saying, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for more. I feel at the cusp of something new. And what got you here won't get you there. So you're going to have to let go first. You need to create space for this new level to come in, because otherwise there's no space for it to come in, for this new identity to blossom. So for me, it was really a year-long journey of surrendering, because I was resisting so hard, because I was pregnant as well. But also you have to trust the divine timing. And sometimes it can go faster, and it can also take longer if you don't surrender to any stage, if you hold on to the old, if you don't do the inner work required, if you don't have a guide that can help you with the healing. If you don't have the self-awareness to look within. I know you all do, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to me. But so it's so important at that stage to use every challenge, every limitation, every chaos, every opportunity as a portal into healing, into releasing, into seeing more of yourself, into bringing light on that. Because it's happening for your highest good. They are opportunities, they are blessings. I know it's really, really hard and uncomfortable. But when you can see it like that, you're like, okay, this is happening. This is terrible. This is putting me in a difficult situation. I want to scream and cry, and maybe just scream and cry for a day or two, and then come back to your center. What am I learning here? What am I being shown? Is this serving me? Is this not serving me? How can I let go of this? Can I work on this on my own? Do I need some help? I have definitely not done all of this work on my own. I was definitely supported and guided. I have so many healers and therapists around me that helped me so much on that path. And so that first step is really all about letting go. Once you have let go, you step into that winter season, the darkness. You don't see clearly. It's hard to move forward. You don't even have the energy to move forward. It feels stagnant, but it's not. The more you can stay in what feels stagnant, the more you can surrender to the process that is unfolding, the more you can follow your intuition. That's the key in the winter season, is to follow your intuition, to surrender, to let go of control, to allow the process to unfold and gather the pieces. What I mean by that, gathering the pieces, it's like you're going to be shown things. Your intuition is going to guide you towards certain things. You're going to meet people. You're going to have conversations. You're going to have certain knowings just blossom inside of you. Gather all these pieces, because they are bringing you in a certain direction that's going to become clear. And suddenly, the clarity is going to come. It's the return of the light. It's the spring. It's the blossoming. Suddenly, everything is going to fall into places. everything is going to make sense. You're going to feel this wind of fresh air blow in your sails, blow in your beautiful Isis wings, and expand you, guide you, lift you up. And so this is your time to come out of your cocoon, to come out of your chrysalis, to allow the butterfly that you've become to expand and serve with this new frequency, with the gained wisdom, with the gained magnetism, and guide others in the way that you know best to do. And so that's the spring season. And then summer is really just the celebration, the reaping of the fruits of that, which is what I'm stepping into now. And I believe I will be stepping into that until December at least, because of the opportunities that I see that are coming my way and how they are lined up. And then we'll see after that. Maybe I'm going to stay in summer season for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, before I'm embarked on another journey. And every journey, Death-Rebirth journey, is not going to be as deep as the one I've gone through, but I know there will be more because of the kind of leadership that I know my soul came here to have. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen by just being like, okay, I'm just going to be that kind of leader and do it. No, you have to become it. And we are programmed, we are coded in the way that we give attention to what is painful. So oftentimes we need to be brought to challenges, difficulties, chaos, to look at these things within us that we need to release to step into the next level. So this is really how it works. And if this is all resonating with you, I want you to know that that's the journey that we do inside the Mystery School. That's the journey, the 9 months sacred journey, initiation into the mystery that I lead women through inside the Mystery School. And oftentimes it takes those 9 months. Less, definitely not. It can be longer. It can be up to a year and a half. It can be 2 years, just like it was for me. It's different for everyone. But when you join a mystery school and you say yes to your soul, because this is not just a yes to joining a program, a container. It's a yes to yourself. It's a yes to your soul. It's a yes to your purpose. It's a yes to your spiritual path. It's a yes to strengthening your relationship to the divine and embodiment of your soul and the divine on earth. When you say yes to such a journey, life reorganizes itself and is like, okay, well, let's bring you the opportunities, the challenges, the people, the situations so that all that shadow can be brought up and so that you can be in the light in those 9 months. And so this is really a journey for you if you feel that you're at the cusp of a new chapter. You feel that you've outgrown certain things in your life. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's your business, maybe it's your financial situation. No matter what it is, maybe it's a role, a title, certain parts of your life that used to bring you joy, passion, fulfillment. It just doesn't bring you the same level of fulfillment and joy and passion. But you're not really clear on what's the next step. Maybe there's even a part of you that's like, well, I should just be grateful for what I have and what I've built. Why am I wanting more? This wanting more, knowing that you're meant for more, it's a sacred calling. It's a calling from your soul that knows what's waiting for you there. So don't push that down. Lean into it. Let it guide you. So you might feel lost, but truly you're not lost. You're being initiated. You might feel that there's chaos, there's pain, just things collapsing. Because you're being initiated. Life wants to reveal certain parts of you that can only be revealed through the chaos. Because then you're going to go within. You're going to look within. You're going to find strength. You're going to find confidence. You're going to find wisdom that you wouldn't have found otherwise. And then there's this desire for you to step into deeper purpose, into your highest potential, into deeper communion with the goddess, with the divine. These are all signs that you're about to step into a death-rebirth journey, that you're being led to the mystery of who you really are and who you came here to be. So within the mystery school, I guide you through all these stages with ancient wisdom, with ceremonies, with initiations, with seasonal practices that are connected to the wisdom of the seasons, the fall season, the winter season, the spring season. And this is why we begin in September, right at the fall equinox, when the equinox is that moment of the year where light and dark are in perfect balance. And on the 23rd of September, there's a little bit more darkness and a bit less light. The night becomes longer than the days. There's more feminine energy, night, darkness, than masculine energy. Feminine energy is all about going within, reflective energy, connecting with the divine, connecting with your soul. So there's a reason why we begin in September with the equinox, because we are being led by the wisdom of the seasons, by the energies of the planet and the cosmos. We are being led within to connect more deeply with our truth, our purpose, our essence, our gifts, and being born on the other side, wiser, more powerful, more clear, and more embodied of who we came here to be. So we are beginning in September, but there's a priority list because I'm only taking 12 women on this very, very deep, sacred, and intimate journey. And women on the priority list will get the opportunity to join in August, the beginning of August. So if my story and everything that I'm sharing with you right now about the mystery school is resonating with you, I'd highly recommend that you get on that priority list. Because once you get on the priority list, you're going to receive instant access to a secret podcast series called Soul Mysteries. And there's 5 episodes in there that are going to help you find clarity on who you really are and who you came here to be. There's teachings on Dharma, teachings on karma, teachings on how to live with soul, teachings on are you meant to walk the path of the goddess, teachings on Mary Magdalene and what roles she plays when you're feeling called to her in your life, what kind of teacher she is, the hidden teachings, forbidden teachings that she brought through as a Gnostic spiritual teacher. So there's a lot of really, really powerful teachings in that secret podcast. It's the kind of teachings that I would give within my mystery school. And so as you go through these 5 episodes, I believe that you're going to know in your heart and soul if the mystery school is for you or not. You maybe already know it actually as you're listening to all of this. You're like, yep, this is me. I'm going through this. I want this. I'm feeling the call. Right? Then definitely get on the list. When you get on the list, you're also going to receive a private invitation to the Lionsgate Portal event that I'm doing only for this priority list. And then you'll get the chance on August 7th to save your seat, one of the 12 seats for the mystery school. 3 seats are already gone. There's only 9 left at this point because they have gone to some of my private clients that I'm working with right now. So I believe that we'll see how it goes, of course, but I believe that these 9 spots will go pretty fast. So if that's resonating with you, just really have a link in the show notes of this episode. Put your name on that list. Let it simmer. Let it brew. Let it expand you. Listen to the Soul Mysteries. There's audio and videos, but you can just tune in and listen as you go and pick up your kids or go for walks or cook or are in your bath. So you can take in that wisdom in a very easy way, and the answer will reveal itself. That's for sure. You'll know it in your heart and bones. So, my love, I can't wait to see you at the Lionsgate event if this is resonating with you and you put your name on the priority list. If not, maybe in the future and definitely in the next episode. So much love. Let me know how this resonated with you. Share it on Instagram. Share it with your friends who are going through a hard time, because challenges are portals. They are actually there to reveal more of our light, as you've just understood through my story and these teachings. See you in the next episode.